Does Onision run a cult? Interesting video title, YouTuber. Well, does he? Now, I have a lot of hot takes on Onision, many of which I'll get to later on, but I'm a bit of a citizen cult expert myself, and the guy did try to start a religion. I have a video that goes very deep into that in case you're curious, but I'll give you the shortest version of what a cult is here in this video, because it's gonna get weird today, internet. But hey, you know, it's the crisis of the 21st century, pandemics, war, you name it. I mean, we'll probably see some religions actually start over these next 20 years or 10 years of whatever, how long this is gonna last. Or we'll all die. Anyway, let's start it.
Impressive. Very nice. Let's see Paul Allen's card.
So before we talk about Onision, we need to discuss what a cult is, and the foremost expert that I enjoy reading is Rick Alan Ross. He's one of the most popular experts on cults, and he has a very hardline approach with cults, calling them destructive cults, and he categorizes them using the following criteria. Now, you don't need to have all of these, and there are other ways that we can categorize cults, but this is the most easy to digest way to talk about cults. When you think about this, think of Scientology, think of, you know, the kind of people that like issue death threats online or run cults with weird, funny hats. So you get a charismatic leader who increasingly becomes an object of worship. Sometimes they're a living God, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're the one that speaks directly to God, right? They engage in thought reform or brainwashing, so basically trying to change your ideas into basically black and white worldviews, right? The exploitation of members by a ruling group. So, for example, the leaders of a certain church could use their position of power to do naughty things to people and turn them into victims of a cult, basically. I cover other cults in this playlist on my channel, so cults aren't religious per se, they just need to follow these three things, but the thought reform is usually facilitated by religious doctrine, and that's what separates a cult from a dangerous political group or something else. The leader can exert control using religious language as a tool. Spirit science does the same thing, and it works pretty much the same for Onision. He gets you in by his boyish charm and develops a social circle around you. And then you're financially binded to him by engaging and paying for whatever website he has or some other way. And that's basically how you get trapped being an Onision fan for life. He's basically the worst parts of the internet personified, in case you're unfamiliar with who Onision is. Chris Hansen did a special about him, you know, the To Catch a Predator guy. Don't worry, there's a lot more threads in that story that definitely make it as not clear-cut as I just made it out to be. But basically, if you don't know who Onision is, just think the worst person ever, and he's that person. So yeah, I was made aware of this cult activity by a video with the interesting title, quote, "So Onision started a cult." And you know, I'm mutuals with Fraser, you know, I respect him, but I'm sorry, please let an expert handle this. I mean, I'm not an expert, but let me handle it, right? This is me kind of knocking the video, but I did decide to go in and infiltrate this cult. And don't worry, guys, I understand nobody wants to give Onision money, and I didn't give him money, because the payment bounced. And yes, this does mean that I got access to the 18+ content, so hold on to your horses and we'll get there. Okay, so Onision has pretty much left the internet publicly. There have been a few stints where he tries to break back in some other genre, but it doesn't really work because he's Onision. And that means I can't really get a clue from his public content what's going on anyway, so I need to dig deep and actually decide to read things about Onision. There was a short jump into kids content in case you're unfamiliar, and obviously Onision and kids content went very poorly. He has a forum, which I know that's a relic of a bygone, simpler age where people got on the internet and actually talked to each other and characters longer than 250. But Onision has maintained some kind of forum since the young days of the internet.
So you're gonna hear me refer to the website as onision.net, but roughly 4 days ago, the site changed to a site called EGHQ Gaming. Anyway, if you look into this, this is actually related to an old website that Greg ran that was a review of video games. So I just wanted to make that clear that the site's changed and it's basically being based around that, which is something from way back in the early days of his internet being online. But the reason for this, who knows? It seems early days. Maybe Fraser's video caused it. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna probably make another sock account and integrate there as well after this video, and just kind of spy on it a little. We'll see what's up. All right, bye.
So I went on this forum and I skimmed a lot of the posts, and it's pretty varied, no specific topic, though occasionally it focuses on the man himself, Onision. But some people might make you believe that this is a very active forum. It's not. This forum is incredibly dead. This is like nobody comes here. With most posts being from the same few people, there's really just nobody coming in, and the conversations sometimes just wind up dead. So these forum members on the Onision.net and Onision fans websites talk amongst each other, having paid for the privilege of doing so on Onision.net. And it's not just him making sock accounts. I understand that Onision is considered a very vapid, narcissistic individual, but he does have a small, loyal fandom of fans. I know, heresy, how could I say such a thing? But these are real people. I looked them up, and many of their personal details were publicly available on these websites. So please, guys, make sure to check and make sure that things are private online, so that way I don't have to easily get your information and find out where you live. So yeah, these are real people. These are real people that are talking about Onision and think he's a good guy. I mean, there's plenty of videos to say why Onision is not a good guy. He is alleged to be a kitty fan. He is a bad man. He says incredibly insane things. He is incredibly angry and considered to be violent. He is unhinged and disgusting even, if you will. But generally with cults, you ask, how does somebody fall into this, right? So how does someone fall into this? Well, trauma is a really easy way to take advantage of someone, right? Cults prey upon people in vulnerable situations. I read some posts here that indicate similar things for these people, which could be possibly why they find a sort of unhealthy comfort in Onision. A great pain is either caused by the world or something more specific, and I'm guessing that these last few years have caused a lot of pain, so a lot of cults have taken up on recruiting new people. But these things cause a philosophical shakeup with people, and it causes them to fall into toxic relationships. And cults aren't the only thing they can fall into. Religion, drugs, people, you name it. It's basically you being indoctrinated into something bad, but cults are just one of those things that you can fall into. It can happen to literally anybody at any time. Deprogramming gets harder and harder the longer that you are a member of a cult, and longtime fans of Onision have been basically decade-long stragglers who haven't been shaken by any of these events. And I doubt anything now would ever get these people to leave Onision's side. It's just not going to happen. Onision.net is a subscription service, though. You pay and you subscribe to access the content on there. So I'd subscribe and you know, subscribe to the channel, by the way. That would be really nice. That's like subscribing, but you don't pay for it. And if you'd like to help fund new investigations, I understand that this one, the payment bounced, but become a patron like these people. It really help. I say that we're part of the New World Order, and these people are actually helping to fund the deep state. However, I will not say which government agency I work for. But we're not gonna subscribe and infiltrate here on Onision.net. No. For some reason, someone called this section of the site a questionnaire. You pay for, but in reality, Onision set this all up as a big click funnel. 90% of Onision.net is pretty much made up of redirect links to Onision fans. These are cross posts from his alternative 18+ forum, a weird place, a damned place that we shall now go to, and this is where I paid to go. So I came up with a fake name and a fake backstory, and I made a post, mainly because I was looking to interact with these people and get engaged in the community, as I've done in the past, and integrated myself into the culture of strange bedfellows. And no one responded to my post because the forum is dead. So much for creating all that character backstory. So what is Onision fans? Well, I guess it's like the Onision hub. He blogs here, he posts videos here. Much like another hub, there is pornographic material that is shared here, and so much more. So how much Onision do you want in your life? Do you want all of it? How much of it is too much?
But firstly, I would like to teach you guys how to have optimal sex. You like that, Bill? And if your partner has holes in their head, this one's almost as big as my penis, almost. You just You bang them like that.
Perhaps that was too much for you, and you've decided that enough is enough, and you don't want any more. But don't worry, that was the first thing I looked at because it was funny looking. I went deeper. So again, I looked at the 18 plus content, and we'll get back to it. You know, I've seen his gooch now. It's cleaner than I thought for a man described as greasy, though I don't expect I'd give him many other compliments. You know, his cheeks are devoid of butt butter, but that's like the ground floor of things that humans need to maintain as like real life adults. So yeah, that's not saying much is what I'm saying. He also has his business set up as a corporation, and this is what led me on a little bit of a rabbit hole to find out why my payment bounced. According to internet, these internet detectives said it was for tax evasion or fraud, allegedly. But this is the name of his corporation. I don't know what it means, and nobody's been able to give a concrete answer, or at least on the places that I've checked. It's what showed up on the card statement well enough, you know, so there's that. Though I think he incorporated it because of the issues he had with the IRS. Not that he incorporated it to avoid paying taxes, but rather a CPA made the corporation in order to help facilitate him doing his taxes, right? Basically, if you're an individual who runs a channel, probably do yourself a favor and get an accountant, because when you pay all your taxes at once, it's not fun. I know, tax season is upon us. Anyway, the internet detectives decided to search the Washington Directory of Businesses, and it didn't come up anymore, which is an interesting thing. According to the denizens of Kiwi Farms, it was listed as delinquent. Well, and now it doesn't exist anymore, so, you know, that's all alleged, of course, and I went and I looked myself, and yeah, it doesn't come up, and being delinquent as a business would mean that you didn't follow through on a bunch of stuff, right? This is probably why the payment bounced. There's probably nowhere for the money to go, but the payment cleared fast enough that I was able to get into the website. And you know, I make like minimum wage doing this, so those $6 went right back into my pocket. Poggers. That's like a gallon at the gas station these days. Honk honk, wink wink. Yeah, that's just gonna date the video a lot, huh? So the Onision fans forum is incredibly dead. I did go deep on this, and really, 2021 was the last active date for Onision fans, but now it just seems as a, you know, it's just an empty white void. I read through a lot of these posts from Onision fans, and I mean, you know, they're just very vague posts about people, and what they're doing is literally nothing going on here. It is so dead. And again, because of the Onision fans' website structure, much of these people's personal details were available to me. I definitely shouldn't have had access to these things. You know, there's like a moderator here or there popping up once a day, once a week type thing, and they're leaving posts. But, you know, those are exactly the kind of people that I was able to find the information of. So that's not good. So that's really bad. I could send you guys emails. Basically, what I'm saying is that Onision is accidentally doxing his members. So that's bad. You know, the thing is with the Variety forum, you need either a lot of people or you know, that paywall. There needs to be something to bind these people together. I mean, you know, compare that to like Kiwi Farms that I referenced earlier. Like, that's a really active forum, and it's mainly because they have a conversation to focus around. It does, you know, focus around these like specific, chaotic, horrible people kind of thing, you know. It's the human zoo, and people go there for that specific thing. You know, there's something for them to come there to. Like, the boards on 4chan, people go to specific boards because they're talking about a specific thing, right? Onision fans doesn't have any of that, so people are just talking into the wind. In fact, Onision even admitted in his last blog post that these projects, these websites, are dead, and they're dead to him. He called Onision.net doomed, but then he posted a link to a forum topic asking how people were, and this is funny. One person responded. I mean, honestly, one person responding to that is just so comedically tragic. At least Kate, last name and emails easily found, is doing okay. According to this blog post, Greg, James, whatever's blog post, he's more focused on finishing his next novel right now. Accordingly, shopping the book to publishers, which is a change of pace for Onision. Onision is many things, and as you all know, one of those things that he is a bad writer, and put a pin in that because I have digital access to every single one of his books. I read some of the blog posts left by Onion Boy, and They're all just over the place, you know? I had this impression that Onision fans was gonna be like a manifesto, and it's more like a disparate word salad of him repeating the same things he's been repeating for the last decade. You know, those bad opinions that everybody's canceled Onision for, right? So here we have the classic, what age range is appropriate for dating? Oy. Now, I know Onision has been claimed to have been a groomer. I got opinions on that myself, but this article is just a really confusing read. Basically, it's him trying to tackle the question of what ages are okay to date and when and all that stuff. My opinion is simply this. If it's legal, it's all right. You want to date a grandma, go ahead. Make sure to tie the knot to keep the family out of the estate. Anyway, Insane Game Pop Twitter stands on twitter.com will say that it's a criminal opinion because people are absolutely unhinged now. Anyway, Onision is confirmed to date women younger than him. That's something he's been doing his entire internet career and taking advantage of those younger people and doing insane shit. But, you know, let's read some of this age range dating article, right? Let's read this. First off, age essentially equals how long you've been on this earth. We're talking how many wrinkles you might have, what music you might be into, what experience you've had since birth, how compatible with tech might you be, etc. All right, so if you said you would be with someone who was disfigured after being married to them for 10 years, what if the disfigurement was rapid aging of their looks and personality? Would you stay with them? And then I'm gonna skip a bit here, but basically he says how people let societal judgments dictate who they love. I always thought I had a penchant for just like having a lot of words in my scripts and shit, but I just realized how much of a better writer I am than Greg, and that really just makes me happy because I can get to the fucking point. Anyway, let's go back to quoting him. Quote, your love is so fickle, so fragile and superficial. What age is where you draw the line? You expect me to say I wouldn't date a woman 15 years my age even if she was my soulmate? Absurd. If I met a woman and was single, of course I would date her. What maniac wouldn't? He also talks about a movie and how that character won't date someone who's crippled. It's implied by Onision that someone ending a relationship because someone is disabled is bad, or that this is shallow to not date someone who's disabled or date them because they don't have a working body from the neck down. And it's your choice who you date. I don't know why this is such a complicated thing for people to realize, but it's your choice. I don't really think it's shallow if people don't want to deal with things and the emotional toll of dating somebody who's disabled. It's their preference. Also, remember, this is about age, not about the disabled. Quote, you would be with a crippled person, you would be with someone disfigured, but you wouldn't be with someone 5 years older or younger than you? Seriously? I like how he makes up people to fight against in arguments that nobody is having with him. This is such a bad thesis. The comparison between disabled people and old people are fundamentally different conversations. In case you're curious, almost every article is like this, where he strawmans a person and then breaks them down and says that this person is wrong about their argument that doesn't exist. So, you know, that's great. These are all just wonderful articles. They remind me of like Tumblr posts because he has the GIFs in it and everything. It's just funny. Anyway, you've all been patient enough. Let's talk about the sex stuff. So, you know, I'm an entrepreneurial individual. I understand the need to write off a sex doll because boy, oh boy, is he getting a lot of mileage out of it. He screws that thing more than his partner's pussy. Sorry, let me do that one again. He screws that thing more than his partner's thussy. Unrelated note, there's a clip of Social Repose saying he had a boppin' boy pussy. And I cringe at that, so I hope you cringed at that too. Excuse me, Social Repose called it a bussy, so I guess, you know, his asshole be yanking. Anyway, I'm sorry. Onision fans, this whole like 18 plus content thing, I gotta give my hot take on men's toys. You know, a real doll is too far, my brothers. It's too much. Just go out to the graveyard like the rest of us. You know, I got no problem with men having toys, but a doll, is something you can dress in human clothes, and that's too much. Like, how do I get rid of it when I'm done? How do I clean it? I can't just like remove the parts, can I? Can I do that? Are the genitals dishwasher safe? Or is it like a hand wash only thing? Do I need to use a garden hose and shove it up there like a reverse catheter? Why is this the future liberals want? Listen guys, I'm sorry, but this video on Onision needs to do well. You need to like this video because I've seen his cock, and let me just tell you, I'm sorry Greg, but it's just not that hot. It's just not. And I'm saying that as a straight man, so I can objectively gauge whether or not your wiener's a good wiener. Anyway, speaking of, Onision fans is like the logical conclusion of OnlyFans. Like, it's like 1% the thing you paid for, which is the porn, and then 90% the poster of the OnlyFans lamenting about their life. Like, my brother in Christ, porn is a service you provide, and instead you want to tell me about why your parents don't approve of the job? I didn't sign up for that. I don't want to be reminded of how unhinged you are, Mr. Gregory Onision. Like, say what you will about Nick Ocado, but you know, his fat ass provides. This is a hilarious review. I can't believe I'm gauging these things. What has happened to me, guys? What is going on? Basically, what I'm saying is nobody wants to think about your mental instability like while you're like yanking it, okay? Like, I'm scrolling through Onision fans and I'm just going, who the hell is this for? Like, who is this? The only person all this porn could be for is for Onision. Like, it can't be for anybody else. And you know, like, guys, I'm not a sex god, right? But Onision screws with all the rhythm of a white man line dancing at a Latin barbecue. You know, like, you're doing a doll. Like, practice some technique here. Get into the rhythm, you know? Show me the samba. Show me the Mr. Worldwide. Give me something here. Like, okay, let's say, hypothetically, that these videos are for women. When has a woman ever been turned on by a grainy, dark video of a man squeaking the pickle? When has that happened? Like, that's what many of these videos are. They're like vertical basement tapes, okay? It's grainy, it's dark, and then some of these videos are just pickle squeaking or him doing missionary on a corpse. Man, what a fantasy. I am absolutely astounded here. This is really breaking the mold of porn here. This is the most vanilla thing ever. Anyway, speaking of the smut, I also have access to all of Onision's books. And today I'm announcing I'm gonna read every single one and take notes on every single one and find the related themes and motifs between each one. And my video will be better than every other YouTuber's because I'm a crazy person who read every single page of the James Baird document and took notes. That's a second channel video, by the way. You should go watch it. So there really isn't much here on the forums or in the blog post. Quite honestly, outside of the 18+ material, it's pretty standard and not all that interesting, to be frank. His audience is a fraction of what it was, and the people there are really just kind of dealing with things that place them in a position to see Onision positively. So I really wouldn't hold it against them because I think a lot of people just don't know any better. Onision does have a cult because cults are not per se religious, but his power and relevancy are fading. People say these videos, like the one I'm making right now, help grow his power and relevancy, but it's by people knowing about his faults that so many have left him and don't stand behind his words anymore. So I really do think that these videos do more of a service than hurt. I will say though, hopefully I finish all the Onision books around the time of the release of the new one. So please make sure to subscribe because that series is gonna be that series is gonna be like a bussy that's yanking. Anyway, I stream weekly on Twitch. Pinned comment. Go watch me stream. Bye bye, internet.
Hey, this is a little outro on this video because I've been gone a while, and you're probably wondering why. And I want to tell that story, but I'm waiting till that finishes, right? So I'm working on a short film right now, and it's. I will say what I can say, and that it's been a disaster. I just want to make sure I'm out of this project before I start talking about it. But it's basically slowed me down this entire month. I was supposed to be done today, so I was supposed to stream today and get back to a streaming schedule, but that got canned. It's really hard to work with students who. I'll leave it there. I won't say it now. I got like a week or two left of college. And then I got my bachelor's. I don't know if I'm going to go for my master's or what's going to happen. But in the meantime, I am going full-time with the channel, despite making poo-poo money, but yeah, I want to thank for the people that have been supporting me on Patreon and stuff like that. That's been really awesome, guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's where I've been. It's been really, really stressful. My bones are like aching, and I want to rest really badly. Anyway, I hope this video makes up for that. This was a lot of fun to make. I had a lot of fun with it. So, you know, I don't know. It's a really hard time right now. But yeah, that's just where I've been. And I just wanted to put something out there.